Hello, world. My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Mega Buck, and I really love video games.
My name is Rafa Boy, and I love video games.
My name is Vinny, and I love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. On this week's show, it's the end of the year. We're talking our favorite games of the year, as well as exploring some Steam gems. We're going to take a hot steam, fellas. Later in the show, we're all going to put towels around our genitals and take a hot steam.
This was not my idea. Just want to put it out there.
Good. Can I join in without the towel?
Oh, dear.
So let's begin.
Oh, boy.
Let's begin. The news segment of today's show will be taken up entirely by our most anticipated games of 2024. Guys, the year 2023 is behind us. It's gone now. Where'd it go? Where'd all the time go?
Bro, what a year in gaming. Holy
There was
smokes.
a lot of
Oh
kick-ass
my
games that came out this year.
God.
Holy
Yes.
shit.
I read an article yesterday that said there was something like over 25 games with a Metascore of 90 plus that came out in 2023.
Man.
It was an
Dude.
insane year.
I
I
can
mean, like,
believe-
a complete impossibility to have any kind of semblance of a life and enjoy all of that at the same time. It's nuts.
Honestly, I just want to rapid fire. Dead Space Remake, Atomic Heart, Baldur's Gate, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Hi-Fi Rush, Street Fighter 6, Cocoon, Dredge, Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Wonder, Liza P, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Diablo 4, Mortal Kombat 1, Chance of Sonar, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 16, Pizza Tower, Dave the Diver, Armored Core 6. There was so many good games this year.
Damn good year.
But next year, there looks like there's going to be a lot of good games too. Looks like there's going to be a lot of good games too. I wanted to start by maybe talking about a couple games each that we're excited about. I'll go first. In February of next year, this is a little game gem. A remake of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is coming out. Have you guys ever played this game?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Published by Avant Garden. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is a puzzle, I want to say platformer. You do jump in it, but it's like an isometric view. It's top down, and it's published by 505. So I believe it was originally an Xbox exclusive, but then it ended up being multi-platform. But you control you control these two brothers, go figure, using the two joysticks on your controller individually. So one brother is completely controlled by the left stick, and the other brother is controlled by the right stick. And then you have to sort of use them in tandem to, say, move a log or something. And in order to do that, you got to put one at one end of the log and one at the other. And it gets progressively more puzzly, where it's just like, all right, now you got to move a log through a series of obstacles, and now you got to move a log as guys are trying to attack you. But it's super, super, super sweet and really heartfelt. I sobbed at the end of this game. It was very, very touching.
That's always good.
It's like a Finnish developer, or I'm sorry, I should have looked up the nationality, but it's based on some Norwegian folk tale. The whole game is, and it was absolutely beautiful when I played it back in like the PS3, I think, when it originally came out. But this remake looks gorgeous. The graphics got a nice little overhaul. The gameplay stayed the same.
That's cool.
So, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, coming in February. Total game gem. Check it out.
Nice. I remember that cover art, Mac. I went and looked at it as you were talking about it. I remember that cover art, but never played it. So yeah, that's worth keeping an eye on.
Definitely recommend.
This remake looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow, the screenshot that I'm looking at where they're in front of the troll
nice.
there with the mushrooms all over its back. Wow.
Buck, how about yourself? You got any games you're excited for? I think I know the answer, by the way.
I get to pop right away because Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth comes out like end of January.
Nice.
I'm so freaking stoked for that. I mean, that person was such a blast. So and it's like the handing over of the torch because Kiryu's getting old, so now it's all about Ichi, and they're going to Hawaii, which means a new map for the first time in Yakuza like ever.
That's huge.
Yes, it is.
It's funny, but
The-
it's like it's
Yeah.
always Japan, and particularly
Mhm.
this one section of Japan, and now
Yep.
they're
Yeah.
going to Hawaii. Yay!
Yeah. There's
One of my
two.
favorite
When you
shows.
beat the man who erased his name, you get to play a demo of Infinite Wealth. You actually get 2 demos, and one is like the story, like the beginning, like it picks up at the very end of the previous tale, and goes right into this one, and you get to preview combat and some fun story and stuff. And the other one is just explore this part of Hawaii, like it's called Map Demo.
Mhm.
Aw,
They know,
yeah.
like we're going.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's new and it's prettier and everything else. So
Yeah,
You
then
know,
that
what's-
is,
oh
is-
yeah.
What's interesting is that Like a Dragon 7, so our Yakuza 7, the first turn-based one, that was when we first saw Yokohama actually, Buck. Well, not first saw it, but when it was first explorable.
Mhm.
And then what's really cool is they took you to Yokohama in Lost Judgment as well.
Right. I played both
So-
of those.
Yeah, so this like you said, handing off the torch to Ichi, not only did it introduce us to the first new explorable map in a very long time, now it's getting us another one. So,
That's
dude,
cool. Yeah.
and
it's
this
fantastic.
is the turn-based Yakuza, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because with the renaming conventions, I'm getting lost now as to which game is the.
I think they've renamed it
There's a
to
lot of
distance. I think they've
There's a lot of
renamed
them.
it to distance themselves a bit because the most recent one is not called Yakuza. It's called Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name. But
Uh-huh.
it's not turn based, and it stars Kiryu, which is the original character. I think they've just changed the series name to distance themselves from the actual Yakuza.
Explain the naming conventions to me now.
Yeah.
What is happening?
The series
Yeah.
is no longer called Yakuza. The series
Okay.
is now called Like a Dragon.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
all of
I can,
them.
I can explain it in
Yes.
30 seconds if you really want to.
Please,
go.
please do.
Yeah,
please
no,
go.
please do. Yeah, I'm
right.
actually curious
So-
about this.
The first Yakuza game was released on the PS2. It was called Yakuza, but in Japan it was always called Ryuga Gotoku, which is like a dragon. So
Nice.
we got Yakuza 1 through 6, and then Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 were like the remakes. When 7 hit, like Buck mentioned, they changed the American name to Like a Dragon. But in Japan, it was just Like a Dragon 7. It was always Ryuga Gotoku. It was always Like a Dragon. So now going forward from the Ichi era on in Japan and the US, they are all now called Like a Dragon.
Okay.
That's
And then
it.
which determines which ones are the turn-based ones and which ones are the live action
There's only
combat
been
ones?
one turn-based one. Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7 is the only turn-based one thus far. They've all
Okay.
been beat 'em ups.
The
Okay.
naming convention is not going to immediately tell you if it's turn-based or not, because like
That's
Buck
my
mentioned,
question. Okay.
Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, is still an action beat 'em up.
There we
And
go. So
you
Infinite
just,
Wealth
You just
is
gotta, yeah. Like a Dragon 7
don't-
I
and
love
Part 8, which is Infinite Wealth, those are
Yeah.
turn-based.
Yeah.
Thank you, Japan.
Here's the better part. The guy that directs those games, those Yakuza games, you look up a picture of him on the internet. He one of the earlier games he did was Super Monkey Ball. So if you look him up, he's just like nerdy,
Oh.
Japanese developer. And you look at him
Yeah.
now, and he looks like he just like hangs out with Yakuza on a day. Like he wears
Kick ass.
black
It's
leather
awesome.
and
It's
slick
awesome.
hair and spike. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm a
Yeah.
big no.
His change.
That's awesome.
That
All right,
is pretty
Raph, you are up.
Well, all right. So there's a couple of things. I don't honestly really even know much about it, but just the fact that it's coming out. There's an Alone in the Dark game I think that's coming out in 2024,
Ooh.
and
Ah,
I'm a big fan of survival horror games in general. I love the Resident Evil games, especially.
Yeah.
But Alone in the Dark is a series that is a blind spot for me. I've never really played any of them, and it's kind of the OG. You know, it's like the OG survival horror game, except for what is that? Sweet Home, I think is the very first one technically. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Down to do a little bit of a spooky dooky shit. What else? There was another game. Oh yeah, I'm not even like a big Warhammer player, but this Warhammer game looks really dope.
Talking about Space Marine 2.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
the
Space Marine
action
2.
Yeah.
game.
It has been 12 years since the first Space Marine game. I thought there was a Space Marine 2 already, and this was going to be number 3. It's been so long.
Warhammer
Wow.
40K, Space Marine 2 coming in September. Multi-platform, developed by Saber Interactive, published by Focus Entertainment, which I didn't know. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, Warhammer is that for those of you who don't know, Warhammer is a Games Workshop game. which is a British company. They make tabletop miniatures mostly, but it's set in the year 40,000, where there is no peace, there is only war. And they had that first Space Marine game. It's just a third-person action beat-em-up game, essentially, come out. Well, how long ago now?
It was
Over a
12 years
decade.
ago.
Yeah. And this new one looks nice. The graphics look like sub-God of War reboot quality. And, I am such a sucker for the 40K universe. I think it's so funny and over the top, and so niche. Like unlike it's like Conan Fantasy, where it's just like its own thing. Like it's just like totally its own thing. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I read somewhere that like the original like Warhammer was originally sort of like a parody almost. Not a parody, but like I don't know. It's supposed to be funny. Like it's kind of supposed to be a little bit on the goofy side. I don't know if that's true. I'm not.
I would say
like
it definitely.
It's self-aware, I've heard.
Yeah. Okay.
It walks the line of like that movie Heavy Metal, for example.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah,
good example.
It's aware of how over the top it is.
I think it's
just like a Dragon.
Exactly. It certainly doesn't lean away from how over the top it is.
Yeah.
If I could interject, for a total Warhammer newbie like myself, who I get to hear Buck talk about it all the time, I'm a little excited about the Henry Cavill Warhammer-based cinematic universe.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay,
sound pretty
I'm
cool.
interested. I'm interested.
Please be Gilliman.
I love that guy. He's such a great actor, and he's such a great nerd.
Yeah, he is. All right, Mr. Venicor, that leaves you for 2024. What are you excited for?
I figured Buck was going to say Like a Dragon 8, so I thought I would prepare for that, and if he did say it, I would pivot. So, obviously, I'm a massive Final Fantasy fanboy, so I'm very much looking forward to the next round of Final Fantasy VII
Rebirth.
But that is not actually the number one on my radar. The number one on my radar is a new exciting Atlas JRPG from the makers of Persona 3, Persona 4, and Persona 5, their new property called Metaphor Refantasio. It is a massively just dripping with style JRPG set in like this high fantasy medieval, I believe medieval setting.
What?
And
what is this?
It's baby. Look, Metaphor Refantasio. Go check it out. It is sadly not going to be on the PlayStation because it's not an acquisition or anything like that, but Microsoft and Sega have formed a very long-term partnership, and that does include the Atlas studio, and they said it's to better take advantage of their Azure platform. So it will not be on PlayStation, it will be on Xbox and PC.
Nice.
So I will be picking it up on PC
my goodness.
day one. Metaphor Refantasio. Check
that
out.
Is a
Definitely
beautiful looking game.
It's going to
figure out how to spell it. Check it out.
It's going to be a hotness. It's just like it sounds. Say it like you're Italian. Rifantasio. And I'm allowed to do this because I am Italian. I'm
married to an Italian gal. I can do it too.
I'm allowed.
Say it like you're Italian.
Say it like a Mario. Rifantasio. Yeah.
Wow.
I just got to say, and it's funny. Buck knows I'm a huge game music guy. Like that's huge. I am very much looking forward to the audio for this game because if they have the Sega sound team on this and the Persona and Yakuza people who all kind of bleeds together, because Persona 5 had like this acid jazz thing woven through it, and the soundtrack was just
Please don't take off my mask.
So I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing what the audio feels like in this game.
I'm playing
Mr.
Persona
Venicor,
5 right now. It's one of my I had never played any of these games before, and I am like absolutely in love with the music in it now. It's a gorgeous game.
Oh, brother.
That's what I was just about to say. Is Mr. Venicor, have you played Persona 5?
Oh my God!
Like, I'm presuming you have, because this is giving big Shimigami Tensei, big Persona energy, but that medieval fantasy setting is such a sucker for anything fantasy.
Yeah,
anything fantasy.
Imagine that Persona style in a more fantasy setting, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited.
That's good.
All right, nice. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment.
So long, Bowser.
All right, for our second segment today, or I should say our first segment after the news, is I asked my co-host here to think of, or just tell me, I guess, if you have been thinking about it yourself, your 2024 gaming resolutions.
Mhm.
What are your promises that you are making to yourself that you are going to do in your, I don't know, your gaming habits of 2024? As always, I'll go first, okay? Because I got a really serious one, you guys. You guys have got a really serious thing to say, which is
Oh,
in 2024, I want to start playing Fortnite.
On purpose?
I want to get into Fortnite, guys.
you're a goofball.
I'm sorry.
Dude, it looks so. There's so much stuff now. I the last time.
I'll join you on
There
that.
is-
It looks
Dude,
good now. It does
dude,
look really good now.
dude.
There is a lot going on in the Fortnite universe.
Yeah.
that
It's
is
so-
a fact.
Listen, I saw my little nephew playing what I thought was what's the kart game with the soccer where you
Rocket
drive
League.
a car? Well, I thought he was playing
Yeah.
Rocket League. No, he's playing Fortnite. I said, what? He said, yeah, it has
I
a
gotta admit,
new.
That's
It's
pretty
got
cool.
a new racing game in
That's
it.
pretty cool.
Where you
No way.
flip from wall to wall, like God, what's that racing game for the PS1 where you've got the guns and this dude?
Twisted
Twisted
Metal.
Oh, Twisted
No,
Metal. Yeah.
the futuristic one, the futuristic one,
Wipeout.
but
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Wipe out.
Looks like
Ah,
Wipeout
okay,
XL
okay.
or something, and it was
Ooh.
just like, whoa,
That's pretty cool.
This
Does
is
it have the
Fortnite?
Prodigy playing in the background? Does it have
Oh,
Firestarter playing in the
yeah.
background?
Yeah.
Fire
He's
stuff,
playing
yeah.
as Eminem, and then
He
he's
makes
gonna,
a good he makes a good point, Buck. Like there's a
Dude.
lot more going on in the
Yeah,
Fortnite
it's,
universe.
it's not that it's well, one, I feel for the developers of that game because they must not be able to sleep. Like they just must not
They're
sleep.
cranking it
ever.
out, man.
But they do. They are content kings. That is for
Wow.
sure.
it's the extra game modes. They just released that new game mode with the extra traversal and the Peter
Mhm.
Griffin with all the muscles, and
Yeah.
you can play as Jack Skellington, and you can
Yeah.
play as just
Ninja
the most
Turtles and-
yes, and
Mhm.
I just God, it's become what Ready Player One has always like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I don't know.
There's
It's
a rock band mode or something going on right now.
There is a rock band mode. I have a
There's
confession to make,
content.
Buck. I have installed and played Lego Fortnite, and it is pretty
That's
cool.
different. Lego Fortnite is different because it's not like Battle Royale, right? It's,
It's
like,
like a survival
Lego,
game.
No,
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
That's
like Lego, Minecraft, Terraria.
which is
you
what
know.
Fortnite started out as. But
That is
fine.
true.
I get
That
it.
is
I'm
true.
just not a shooter guy, but I get it.
Neither am I. Neither
Honest to God,
you know
yeah,
me.
I'm not really a big shooter person either. Not anymore, at least. And like this, it looks fun. I want to be able to play as Goku with a lightsaber. That sounds cool. You know?
Their events are so short
Yeah,
that it's like, did you play this week? No. Oh, it's different this week.
yeah, you missed it.
Who cares? I
So
like
I've
that
heard.
about it. That's awesome.
No, that's fine.
I,
that's
for me,
fine.
FOMO,
It's
I
pretty cool.
guess,
Dead by
right?
Daylight does that a lot.
I
And we
Yeah.
play a lot of Dead by Daylight, so we can't judge.
Yeah,
I-
we can't judge.
I also suck at shooters, and
Yeah.
the last time I really played, I played it like one match, like 2 years ago, and went, "Wow, this game's changed a lot." And then now it's changed even more
Yeah,
compared to when it started. It's completely different, and I'm just feeling like there's.
And they did a
I feel like
graphical
there's-
overhaul about 6 or 8
Yeah,
months ago.
there's-
Yeah.
it's on Unreal
might be
5
something
now, right?
in there for me.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
and I want to dip my toe in, and it's what Ready Player One has always said that is going to happen, and now this game is Ready Player One, and I'm
I'm
going to
sure your nephew
gonna
would love to play with
get
other
in on that action.
12-year-olds.
I'm going to
Yeah.
do some
Yeah.
Fortnite dances, and I'm going to
Hey man, let us know how it goes.
I'm going to
Let us know
pawn
how your
noobs.
wallet goes.
We'll be
Yeah.
here.
I'm going to
Gonna hit the
pawn
gritty.
noobs, okay? And I'm going to be with the youth
Yes.
while you guys are snoozing with your
Right.
Mario. All right, Buck,
He's right.
What's your 2024 gaming resolution?
You know, after Infinite Wealth, of course. I always try to work on my backlog every year. I guess this is like an every year resolution kind of thing, because I have this terrible habit of, like, you know, buying or taking a game and then putting it on the shelf, or if it's Steam, sitting in Steam for however long. Like, for instance, this year I played BattleTech, the turn-based BattleTech,
yeah.
which came out like 4 years ago. And I loved it, and I ended up putting like 30, 40 hours into it and beating it. So trying to hit up those backlogs every month. I'm a frequent user of that How Long to Beat website, you know, that tells you how long to play a game. So I'm like planning it out, and then I just end up getting this giant case of analysis paralysis, and I don't play anything. Instead of going, oh, I wonder if that's going to be a good 30 hours or a 5 hours, and I hate this game. And I set myself up to play it, and now I got to find something else. So I'm going to try and cut down on my analysis paralysis and pick and jump into more stuff.
Where
Yeah, I have the same problem, honestly. Like, sometimes I'll sit down and I'll look at my Steam collection. I'm like, I want to play something, but I
Dude.
don't know what. And then I spend 4 hours trying to figure out what to play. And
I
then I
gotta
haven't played
send-
anything.
I gotta send. I'm gonna send Mac a screenshot to put up right here of my Switch physical collection.
Oh, man.
And I went to move. I went to
Big
move,
facts.
or it's up to 3 like 4-foot long shelves now. And I went to move because I picked up another one, and I went to move a couple, and I saw like 7 games that I bought. They're still new. I haven't opened, and that was only on like the first shelf. I was like, oh yeah, I got Axiom Verge 2, and I haven't played that. Oh yeah, I picked up the newest Alterier, however you say that, Riser game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I picked up that. And I'm like, oh shit,
Ruh-roh.
I didn't play any of these.
my backlog's not even big, and I can't get it. It's like just Elden Ring and Persona 5. I'm just like, God,
I mean, Elden
these
Ring
two
is good
games.
enough.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Big
Ooh.
enough,
Those
man.
are
That's
wonderful.
big enough.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful.
Yeah.
That's part of my problem. It's like, oh, this is when you're talking about game of the year stuff. It's like, these are all great games. There's nothing wrong with them. I just didn't get to them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Raph, how about yourself?
Well, so growing up, I actually never really played the Resident Evil games growing up. I did play because I wasn't I didn't have a PlayStation until I want to say in middle school or high school or something like that. So my first one was Resident Evil 4 in high school, and I fell in love with it. And recently this year,
Yes.
or like earlier this year, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up acquiring Resident Evil 4 remake, I think, on the Switch. Resident Evil 1 remake on the Switch. And
Ooh.
1 remake
right,
is so good.
right. 1 remake was amazing. Yeah. So
Oh.
and then I found the other ones on a Humble Bundle for like
Mhm.
$10. So I
Mhm.
somehow
I remember
acquired
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the Humble
somehow
Bundle.
acquired
Yeah.
all
Good for
of
you.
them. And so
That's
what
awesome.
I'm doing is that I'm trying to play all the Resident Evil games.
Mm.
I'm just beat Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm playing Separate Ways right now.
Mhm.
But trying to play 5, which when you're not playing it with someone else, is kind of a pain in the ass. But
Yeah.
I do
5
have
is
a
good,
co-
but yeah,
yeah.
it's more fun.
yeah, I have somebody that's playing it with me, so I'm trying to get through
Mhm.
that,
Cool.
power through 6, and then finally get to 7 and 8
Don't-
because I
don't play
really
6.
want to play 7.
Just skip
I-
6.
I kind of want to, but the resolution is to finish them all, you know?
Yeah, but
gotta power through it.
then that means you got to
Watch-
play the
watch a-
Revelation.
Watch a highlight video and you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Because that means
yeah.
you have to play the Revelations game, and I think only the second one is even any good. Because I don't really play either of those. Because man, you
I
get
didn't
into
like
like,
either
who
of
is
them.
that? That's
Yeah. I
didn't
Wesker's
like 'em.
kid. What's
Yeah.
going on here? And now it's just a Michael Bay movie, and
I heard it gets crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, shit just constantly
playing
explodes.
Revelations 1 at the same time as like 5, and it's not bad. I think it was like a DS game or something like that. So it's a little old looking.
and there's like a
and the
weird
controls are
live
kinda funky.
service, and not live service, but they put a bunch of content for it, like episodes you had to play.
Yeah.
But God,
I
like
heard 2 was
remake
good.
1.
Yeah,
When remake 1 came out, which was like for the Cube,
Yeah.
like it was like no one asked for this. This is amazing.
yeah.
Like the way they redid the textures and the things that they redid and the things that they changed and whatnot. Holy crap!
Added
I
Lisa
still,
Trevor.
yes, that whole section where you go
Yeah.
outside. The first time I played that remake was like, whoa, this area is
Yeah.
all new. But then I could not believe that it took them like 20 years to make another remake, like to make remake 2.
Right, yeah, and it's in a completely different style. It's using the new RE engine, which is gorgeous, honestly. Like 1 was honestly my favorite one as far as like the atmosphere. It was the one that was like actually kind of a horror game and then turned into an action game near the end. And 2, I don't know, 2 hits a sweet spot with the new engine as far as like, oh, this is
It does.
really scary, but it's also a really good action game.
Yeah.
I'll talk about 4 in a minute when we get to the other segment, but 4 was good. 4 was.
Have you gotten a 3 remake yet?
I did. I played 3. I was
It's just
a
a bummer because it's short.
Right, yeah, it was only 5 hours long. I think I beat it in like 5 hours or so, and that actually is like kind of an average playtime. Most people can beat it in like 2 hours.
Yes.
It's very
Wow.
short. They cut out
Yeah.
like entire sections of the game, and Nemesis isn't
Yeah.
like a stalker enemy. It's kind of like
Right.
scripted. They like kind of ironically did a better job with Mr. X as like a stalker enemy than they did with
Right.
Nemesis.
You could tell that they rushed it a bit, which is a
Yeah,
shame because
yeah.
2 remake was so good and really long. Like there are lots
Yeah.
of differences between their 2 scenarios, whereas in the PS1
Yeah.
version they were like 90% the same, 80% the same.
Yeah, I'm still playing 2 again. Like 2 is just one that I will occasionally just go back into. And
Mhm.
after playing 4, I think I'm just gonna play it again, just because it's so much fun. I had such a good time with that game.
All right, we need to get to Mr. Venicor's gaming resolutions for 2024.
I'll be short and sweet for mine.
Perfect.
I have a few things I want to commit to. I want to definitely make sure that I play all the way through the FF7 and the and Metaphor. So those are top two, because I know I'm going to jump on Like a Dragon Guide or Like a Dragon 8 right away. So that's a given. But I want to try my best to hit the coveted double rank 1 in Dead by Daylight again. So what that means is, in a given month, to get rank 1 killer and rank 1 survivor, like red rank on both. That's not easy to do. It requires a lot of hours, but I did it once. I can do it again. I just got to be really dedicated. And if all goes well and I'm hitting all of my check marks, I want to try to hit Elder God in Mortal Kombat 1 ranked ladder.
the top tier rank,
which is the
is
top
called
tier in
Elder
Mortal
God.
Kombat 1.
Yes.
Elder God. It's Elder God.
Those guys over there know what they're doing with that brand.
Hell yeah.
That
Cool
game,
boy.
that's another game that came out
Yep,
this year that
yep.
absolutely kicked ass.
Ooh.
Nice, short and sweet. I love it. What are we getting? Oh! Look at the Mortal Kombat chair.
Kombat
chair.
sick.
You got to go
That's
onto the
sick.
YouTube and watch the video for this one, folks. He's got a Mortal
He's
Kombat
so
chair.
sexy.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
go.
gorgeous.
Moving on. All right. So for our next segment here, we're going to cover our games of the year. All right. Listen, if you're listening out there, if you're watching out there, we're not games journalists. So don't come at us about what we're about to say, about what game really is the game of the year. We're talking about our games of the year, okay? Because we don't get the chance to play every game. It's impossible to play every good game, especially this year. So we're going to talk about maybe some games that we played that were our games of the year, and maybe some ones that we missed out on as well. I'm going to go first. One game that I was totally sleeping on until it recently came to Game Pass, that I ended up finding out after doing some research was on the Game Awards nominee list for indie games, is Cocoon. Cocoon is made by the studio. I should have looked it up beforehand, but it's the studio that did Inside and Limbo.
Limbo, yeah.
Yep. So those are they're not isometric, but the side-scrolling platformers that kind of have like spooky twists or whatever, and very like dark and scary. But Cocoon is the exact opposite. It is the antithesis of it's so bright and colorful. It is a wonderfully surprising platformer, puzzle game. There's like some light platforming elements, but it came on Game Pass one day. I saw it in there, had heard about it from watching a Donkey video, so I started playing it. Cut to 7 hours later, and I had beaten it.
Oops.
It was incredibly addictive. It's
Wow.
to give a sort of elevator pitch without spoiling it. It is a world in which you start in this level, and then by the end of that level, this is like not really a spoiler. By the end of the first level, you realize that you get sucked out of that level into this like hub world area, and you can take the level and pick it up and put it on your back. You use it to do things within the level, like activate elevators or trigger a thing to go
I'm
off.
looking at it now.
But then also you end up finding a second level, and then you go in that, you do this thing to beat it, and you pull it out of that hub world. So the world that you thought was the hub world is actually just a second level. So now you've got two levels. One is, say, red, and the other is green. Then you find out that there's a third level, and you at one point you're putting levels inside of levels, which is really interesting. There was a moment.
Wow.
There's a moment in the game where you put
This looks trippy.
you put a
Yeah, this
level
looks really cool.
inside of itself, and my brain broke. It was like it is very Inception like. It's got that thing that Super Metroid does where it's able to explain itself without talking to you at all, which I am a huge fan of. Whenever video games can just like not talk to me, that would be great.
Can you just not talk
Can
to
you
me?
just like show me the game instead of telling me about it? But yeah, Cocoon, fantastic puzzle game. If you have Game Pass, you could probably beat it in a sitting or two. I ended up beating it in that single sitting because, you know, you get to a puzzle where you go like, what? How do I? Wait, hold on. And then, you know, a little bit later, you go, I'm a genius, and you get that little dopamine. You think I can do one more puzzle, and then, man, it feels so good. It feels fantastic. Go play Cocoon.
I gotta tell you, Mac. Yeah, I think you said Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Game Pass.
Similarly, if you have the PlayStation Extra subscription, there is I picked up this title called Superliminal. I don't know if you've seen Superliminal.
Oh, I've seen this
Yes,
before. It looks
the
cool.
perspective.
It's a perspective based game.
Yes.
So like you've got to like put this chess piece on a button, but it's a very big button, and you've got this teeny tiny chess piece. Well, you just have to change your perspective, and all of a sudden you lift the chess piece into the air, and then you drop it, and it's like 10 times the size.
Yeah.
And like paintings on a wall that you line up just right. It's all perspective.
That's cool.
And now all of a sudden you can grab that thing, and then it creates a door. It's pretty rad. My wife actually was sitting on the couch with me in my game room playing on her phone, and I booted up Superliminal for the first time, and she like puts her phone down. She's like, what?
That's
it was neat.
That's also one I beat in a single sitting.
Yes,
where you're just like,
Superliminal.
what is
Nice.
going on?
Superliminal.
Like that was, I don't know. I also felt like if I put it down, I wouldn't be able to pick it back up because, man, some of
That's
the
fair.
levels,
Yeah,
like when I was
honestly,
like,
yeah.
okay, the green level's in the red level, and then I got to get to the purple level to drop the red level. Yeah, I was,
Like I'm in the zone. I just got to keep going. But like for the sake of like streaming and gaming and stuff, like it's nice to know that here's a handful of games that you can play and beat in one sitting.
Mhm.
Like just do a full playthrough.
Yeah.
Slay the
Mhm.
Princess was like
Yep,
that.
yep.
Untitled Goose Game was
Yeah.
like that. Superliminals like that. It's nice to have a basket that are just like sit down, play, and you're done. It's not a backlog.
like video games used to be. Buck,
Yeah.
your game of the year.
So like that's tough, right? I maybe have two, but at the very beginning of the year, I played the first Fuga game,
Mm.
and then shortly after that, Fuga 2 came out. If you guys have not seen the Fuga series before, it's part of that Tales series. There's a couple others in it, like Tales
Mhm.
Concierto and something. This whole world where everybody's an animal, dogs and cats living together. It's madness, but there's like wars going on and whatnot. But this series, these two, are turn-based RPGs where you play as all these different children. I think the Mac originally pointed me onto the first one.
I did,
And
yes.
didn't jump into it as heavy as I did, and then I turned Mr. Venicor onto it, and then he ended up playing both of them also.
I'm looking
It's a
at this
turn-based
now.
game where you have all the different kids. You're inside of this tank, and it's a really simple system of like short range, medium range, long range guns, which affects who can heal and who can do buffs and who can do more damage. RPG stuff, right? And you're fighting against other enemies and sometimes other bigger tanks. But the biggest kicker is if you get to a fight that's too difficult and you can't get through a boss.
No.
This is an RPG that's also like a life sim. Like all the kids interact with each other and build relationships, and there's intermissions between the fights where they walk around the tank because it's like a huge roving base and they talk to each other and everything else. But if you get to a boss that's too hard and you can't get past it, the tank has a desperation move called a soul cannon, which is powered by souls of the children that are inside the tank. You can sacrifice one of the kids in the tank to shoot, but basically your goal then becomes to try and beat the whole game without having to do that because it's really sad and all the other kids mourn the kid that died. And
Just to
wrecks your soul.
clarify to anybody listening, what he is saying is that this is a RPG. It's got lots of life sim elements to it.
It
like
does.
Persona. But imagine if Persona, you could just like put one of the kids in the barrel of a cannon and then shoot them.
That's what happens, yeah. But thankfully I didn't, and they're not very long. They're each like 20 hours, and I really hope that the second one sold well enough they make a third because the stories are very, very tied to each other. So I just had such a blast with it that it was a lot of fun. But it wasn't super long, and it probably is on no one else's game of the year list. So probably my real game of the year is Sea of Stars, because that game was phenomenal.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
That's my
man.
wish list. Both of these look cool as hell.
Oh man, Fuga's
Yeah,
great.
they're good.
Yeah,
And it's only
they're
about 20
wonderful.
hours to play through those for sure. But
Nice.
Sea of Stars, if you guys have all heard of it, it's a phenomenal game. It really is like a spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger in the music and the gameplay style. One of the biggest things for me that matters in an RPG is that you make me give a shit about the characters, and the way that the three main characters interact with each other, especially Garl, the warrior cook. They make you care about the characters a lot, which is what carries. Like, I hate when I play an RPG and I get to a spot and I'm like, I don't care. Skip dialogue, skip. None of this is interesting. I don't care about any of you. It made me care about all the characters, the way they interacted. There were NPCs that I went, what? What do you mean you're not going to join my party, a la Frog? Like, come on. You're a really cool character design, and you obviously have that shovel on your back for a reason, little mole dude. Join my party.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'm hoping they do add-on content where some of those characters get in your party. But great story.
Oh, man, I want to play that game so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we will
have
in
it
the
on my
future.
I'm pretty sure I have it on like the PlayStation Network store there. That's
It deserves all the awards that it won, because
looks
it
so
was
gorgeous.
just fun. Every time you played part of it was beautiful. Like the sprites were beautiful. The level designs in all the dungeons were just so much fun. There were lots and lots of really simple but fun, pushing and pulling and shoving, Zelda dungeon. Oh, like it reminded me of like Link to the Past, the way all the dungeon puzzles work.
Mm-hmm.
And every dungeon has a bunch of them. And I ended up like 100%ing the game and doing all the side quests and stories and the real ending, all that stuff. So,
Hell yeah.
which I highly recommend as well.
Sea of Stars, excellent pick.
Nice.
Raph, your game
well-
of the year.
Well, I kind of hinted at it before, but honestly, the Resident Evil 4 remake, it was
Nice.
that was
I want to
just
play.
for sure the best of the remakes that I've played. It just feels good to play. Those
Mhm.
gunshots sound incredible. Like, I don't know, just like the they're
Interesting.
incredibly satisfying.
It's
Every
cool.
time you pop with a rifle, and like every time you see their heads explode, it's just very satisfying. And then they gamified a lot of cool stuff in it. Like they kind of expanded like the shop, like the shopkeeper and stuff. You can
Right.
put these gems and slot like gems into different objects and then sell those for more money. And then there's like the cool like mini game where you're doing the shooting gallery thing, which I'm not sure. I don't remember that being in the original one. It might have been.
I believe it
but-
was.
It's I don't know. They made it so fun, and it makes me just kind of like I one time I just like stopped what I was doing mid game, and then I just went in there and I did that for like an hour or so, just kind of like popping shots at the gallery and earning like little tokens that you put into a vending machine that give you these little
Yeah.
toys that attach to your case, and then they
That's
give you
neat.
stuff. It's
That's
very
neat.
fun.
You're literally trying to get gashapins.
Yeah. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Yeah, no, definitely my game of the year. The other one
That's a
that
good
I
one.
saw, I guess on the Steam Awards, it's nominated for game of the year was Lethal Company. That's I found it just a little
It's a
while
late
ago.
comer.
Yeah, I found
Yeah.
it just a little while ago, and I fell in love with this game. It's so much freaking fun. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah, my one
It is
regret
fun.
from all of the Game of the Year award nominees for like the different award shows, my one regret is that I haven't played Baldur's Gate. Honestly,
Like Persona 5, it will suck you in for hours and hours.
I'm sure.
That's
sure.
the real one for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate kicks ass. Mr.
Yeah.
Vanacore, your game of the year, sir.
Yep. Spoiler alert. Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Sorry.
he's just gonna say
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate.
Sorry.
Baldur's Gate.
Sorry.
yeah.
They
This man has like
They-
four
they got
different
it right.
campaigns going at the
That's
same
all
time.
right. Game
They
got it
kicks
right.
ass.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Dang,
They did.
Okay.
I am a very, very long time D&D player. Buck knows this. I have
Okay.
actually been running D&D games since I was 15 years old. I
Dope.
turned 40 this year. I've been DMing for 25 years.
Awesome.
So
How do I
for-
heart?
for-
There we go.
right. How do you heart react?
Ignore me. Ignore me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But honestly, it was the most complete D&D experience you could ask for, and this is from someone who knows the mechanics from 2nd edition to 5th edition inside and out. They got it right.
Yeah.
They got it right. That's all I can say. It was a fantastic title, and I think we're going to be comparing games to it for years, and that's
Yes.
not necessarily fair. So I think it would be best if we all went forward just knowing what a masterpiece Baldur's Gate 3 was and just being realistic from there.
it just set a bar. I mean, that's like saying platformer games, aren't as good because they're not as good as Mario 3 or Mario World, because back in the day, obviously, and still
Sure.
it's some of the best. And it's like, that's not to say that other platformer games aren't really
Exactly.
good because of that,
Exactly.
but it set a bar for those style of turn-based RPGs.
You've been playing that Rogue Trader game, that Warhammer Rogue Trader game.
Yeah,
You've been talking a lot about it, and like, if for me, it's like, okay, that has piqued my interest because people have compared it to Baldur's Gate. I'm not going into it expecting it to be a Baldur's Gate, D&D game, because it's not, but it's that style. It's that style.
Yep.
It's absolutely perfect. It's a 10 out of 10 game
really
for
is.
me.
It really is.
You're so correct in your assessment that it is the closest thing that you can get to playing Dungeons and Dragons. If you ever wanted a computer to be your dungeon master, it's absolutely phenomenal, Raph. You have to play it.
Yeah.
It's if I feel bad for people that make video games, because Buck is correct. It's set a bar, and it's I don't know. It's
now everyone's got to be Baldur's Gate.
I read a comic. I read a comic strip that was obviously, or no, it was those levels, those Warp Zone guys, and they did a little skit, and it was obviously supposed to be Blizzard's office because there was like a Warcraft and a Diablo 4 poster in the back, and they're like, "Boss, you got to try this Baldur's Gate. How good can this game be?" And he sits down, and it's like, for 14 hours later, it's perfect. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Yeah,
I've heard that I've never played it, but I played, I guess, Divinity 2, which same studio and
pretty
stuff.
close. Yeah.
Style. I've heard it's actually a lot like Disco Elysium, but with the combat, like as far as like the dialogue and all that stuff. Like that's. I've heard it's a lot like I love Disco Elysium. I'm playing that one as well. Like I'm kind of like playing through it. But I've heard it's like similar, but just with the combat and all that stuff.
So me and Mr. Benegor both beat Disco Elysium.
I think jump in on that.
Okay.
The dialogue rabbit holes that you can go down in Disco Elysium, Elysium, and you know what I'm talking about since you're playing it.
Oh my god!
You can find similar instances to those kind of dialogue rabbit holes in Baldur's Gate 3. So that I understand. That is never a comparison I would have thought of on my own.
Yeah.
But to that point, okay, I get that because I mean, think about it. How many games can you think of that really have those extreme dialogue rabbit holes?
Not a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate has thought of everything that you could ever think of.
I might pick it up next week. I might pick it up next week. Honestly,
Disco Elysium is much
it.
more depressing.
Oh
Disco Elysium goes hard.
Yeah, even just in the beginning, even in the first 3 days, it's like I forgot what it was. Like one of the dreams just like made me sob. I was just like, oh my god.
Disco Elysium's good because you can play as a drunk cop. So
it's
fucking go.
You are a
drunk cop.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta move on, gentlemen. Let's get our towels because we gotta take a hot steam.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hot Steam. It's
Lord
a little
have mercy.
subcast within our podcast here where we take a look at what's hot on Steam. That's right. Have you ever looked under the new and trending tab of your Steam store? Well, we did this week, and we each played a game from it. And we're going to tell you about it. This week, I played a game called The Norp Apologue or Apologue. I've never seen that word before. I know words. Don't try, Ben. I ain't never seen that word before.
Yeah.
The Norp Apologue. It's $6.99 on Steam. It wasn't on sale. It's just straight up $6.99. It is a super fun, cool game. I really liked it a lot. It is essentially it's this new sort of like idle game genre like Loop Hero is, or Kingdom, where there's just like a lot of passive moments in it. I feel like there's these new genre of games that are accommodating for the fact that you're also watching Netflix while you're playing, which is really nice. But it's very Lemmings. You play as the god of these Norps or whatever. Norps are these little tiny creatures, and you have a section of screen. It's kind of like that game Kingdom. I don't know if anybody's played Kingdom.
No.
Is that
no.
the side, the one like the tower defense, but side scrolling?
Yes.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, I played-
Kingdom, you play as a
Mhm.
king and you move. You have this large play area that's just
Mhm.
completely panoramic, and you just move
Mhm.
from left to right. And it's got
That's
a
fun.
day and a night cycle. And during the day, you collect money from your citizens, and at night, you help your citizens defend the edges of the
Mhm.
level. So in Norp, there is in the center of the level a big rock.
What a funny name.
And you basically, when you click on the rock, you can do damage to the rock. And then what you end up doing, it's going to take a while to explain, but essentially this game it's not a resource management game. It is a resource collection game.
Okay.
So all you do is try to do as much damage to the rock in the center of the screen as possible. So basically, the game-centric aspect of it is that you have a population of Norps, and you try to strike a balance of dividing them between doing damage to the rock and then collecting the fragments of rock that fly off of said rock that you turn into RTS-style buildings that will give you better ways to damage the rock faster or more.
Wow.
So it starts really slow where you've got like two Norps and one's punching it and the other one is picking up the rocks. And then you are manually having to help the Norp push the rocks because you can do that, and manually having to do damage yourself to the rock. But then cut to 20 minutes later and there is a Vampire Survivors level of Norps on the screen, like smashing it, and they have jetpacks on and rocket launchers. And it's the basically the Lemmings catch to it is that you cannot reassign a Norp a job once you have given them one.
Like Lemmings.
So you can't. Is that correct? You can't reassign jobs in
Yeah, I
Lemmings?
believe so. Yeah. Yeah. I think once they're
Okay.
set in their ways, they stay.
So if you
Interesting.
basically, if your level gets too balanced in the direction of doing damage but not picking it up, it'll take you too long to make currency. On the flip side, if you have too many gatherers, they'll be standing around not gathering anything. It doesn't make you lose the game, but the way you progress, right? This is I'm wrapping this up, I swear. Is you and you get a ratio bar at the top of the game, and it's your damage to collection ratio. And once you get that to a certain ratio, you'll begin collecting like prestige points on this bar. And you'll prestige up to these higher levels. You can also do this thing where you stack the fragments of rock high enough to where they collapse in on themselves, and basically all rocks from the future get denser, as in will give you more resources per rock. It was a lot. I thought,
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, no,
for
it sounds
for
like-
$6.99, I was like, this is a fun ass game. I just wanted to play it for for an hour for the podcast, and I ended up playing it for like 4 or 5 hours. There's a button you can press that's screensaver mode, where the game just says like,
oh my god.
listen, man, I know you gotta wait for a little bit. If you want, like, I can not burn out your thing, and I can just show you stuff. It's very Loop Hero. I liked it a lot. I
That's
would
cool.
recommend it. The Norp Epilogue on Steam. It
The
was
Norp
steamy in there. What a
Epilogue.
gem.
I just wishlisted it.
But
Nice.
how about yourself?
Oh, like Venny mentioned earlier, I picked up Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader.
Hell
which
yeah.
has been awesome.
It looks
he's
good. I've watched you
Absolutely
play a
right. Like
little.
everybody says, it's like, oh, it's like Baldur's Gate, which is now the way that you compare any of those. But this developer had made one of the Pathfinder games a number of years ago. Games Workshop is starting to do something very smart finally, where they're just hiring outside developers to make these games rather than trying to do stuff in house
Yeah.
and making it, and it sucks. And so they're hiring outside developers that have made good games instead. So it is the same type of game like Divinity or Pathfinder. It's a turn-based RPG, but it's set in that Warhammer 40K universe, so it's sci-fi and it's grungy, and the turn-based combat is so much fun because of it's all guns and psychic powers and stuff and whatnot, and it has this amazing, the features that other ones don't have, but it's not as open world as Baldur's Gate, which I kind of enjoy that. Like, it doesn't railroad you entirely because you get to visit planets. But when you go to a planet, you don't just explore that entire planet. It's like, here's a landing place, and those are the different dungeons and areas to
Sure.
explore and whatnot. But one of the most fun things about it is in in like Baldur's Gate and any fantasy RPG like that, you only have really a couple of choices, kind of like Mass Effect. You have like Paragon, like good guy run. You have bad guy run. And then there's sometimes that third, like, I'm just going to kill everybody run, good or bad, just for fun.
I'd say that's pretty bad. Hey, Buck,
Murder
real
hobo
quick.
run.
I would say killing everyone is pretty bad.
But you're killing the bad guys too. You're going to kill the big bads.
Yeah,
you're not
but
gonna align
you can't
with them.
just kill people, though.
Yeah, then you haven't done a Dark Urge Baldur's Gate run yet.
Yeah, that makes you bad. It's
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I want to play the Dark Urge
called
playthrough
Dark
so bad.
Urge, not
Let's just
good
stop right there.
urge.
Just stop right there.
So in Rogue Trader, since it's 40K, you have this 40K fourth option that you're not going to get in any other game, and that's like the destroy the heretics, purge the mutant flesh, the Emperor protects. Like, what are we doing? Good or bad? Doesn't matter. The Emperor protects the strong, and you just barrel through the fire and kill all of the slave traders or the prisoners or the governor that was a little bit corrupt.
Your third option is to do good in the Warhammer universe, which is to do bad.
It's
you can
right, how
either be
does one
good, or
do
you
good
can
in
be
the
bad, or
Warhammer
you can be
universe?
totally batshit bonkers. And
Yes, that is the 40K. They call it dogmatic.
Yeah.
Which, like, when you have these Adeptus Sororitas, which is the chick in the Space Marine armor, they're all like we cannot let heretics be within range of. But that heretic's a psyker, and she does a really good lightning ability, so I kind of want her to be in my party.
maybe just a little bit of heretic.
Maybe just a little bit of heretic. But it has been so much fun, like the way that it works. It's not super, super deep in all the right ways. It has one really cool feature that I wish Baldur's Gate had. Unless you get ambushed, when you get into a fight, the very first thing it does is it lets you, depending on how far your guys can move, it lets you place them in like starting positions, like basically saying, hey, you were about to get into a fight. You probably had 5 or 10 seconds to run behind that barricade and hide because your character sucks out in the open because they're a shoot and peek kind of person.
That's cool.
Or you want this guy with the chainsword to be on the front lines because he's your tank. And so there's this cool little like turn before the fight starts where you can position everybody. And I was like, dang, I don't know how many times that I didn't get ambushed in Baldur's Gate that my squishy, wizard got killed right away because he was in the front.
Right, because I called a guy an asshole and I didn't expect that dialogue prompt to exist.
Or he just happened to be standing right here when you were talking to this guy and 4 other guys jumped up on this side and you're like, oh shit.
Nah.
Yeah. Raph,
Oh man,
how was your Steam? How was your hot Steam?
Oh, it was wonderful. I actually played 2 games. They were both free. One was One Armed Robber, and the other one was One Armed Cook. Okay, so One Armed Robber, it's payday, but you only have one arm. Your other one's all like limp and hanging. So you can only do one thing at a time, including pick stuff up or fire a gun. Like you can't just hold stuff. You have to physically hold down your mouse button to carry things. So you put stuff in a bag.
That's awesome. That's a great
you gotta
mechanic.
like load.
Yes.
It's so funny. It makes for some really chaotic moments with your friends when you're just like, everyone's panicking, you're getting shot at, and you're trying to load stuff in the bag, and then your buddy's shooting, and then you all die.
Oh, it's multiplayer. It's called.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I tried playing it by myself, but it really wasn't as fun. Honestly, I just kept dying.
Yeah.
But with friends, it's a good time. The other one I played though, One Armed Robber was fun, but One Armed Cook was just One Armed Cook.
Did you have a theme this week, Raph?
Oh yeah. No, it's the same
One
developer
Armed
and
Robber
everything.
was really fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's the same developer.
They're both free.
Yeah.
But One Armed Cook, first of all, I discovered that I cannot hold a pizza on a tray for the life of me without it just flying all over the place. Like, just the physics of this game are so funny. When you go to grab a plate and it sends every other plate around it just flying across the restaurant, food's landing on the floor, my friends are panicking because orders are coming in and there's like fucking chicken on the ground, and like I'm trying to toast the buns and slice them up, and then the bread's flying everywhere. It's a good time, man.
That's
it's
good.
a good time.
Yes,
Yeah,
I also
Overcook.
I also downloaded One Armed Robber just because it was on there, and it was really really funny. The goofy physics is really fun.
Yeah, that's where it is right there. It's just the silly physics of it. I highly recommend both of those, especially One Armed Cook.
Yeah, hell yeah, great game, great gem.
Yep.
Mr. Venicor.
That's cool because I did not get a chance to play anything specifically on that list this week.
Okay.
But it's funny because I added One Armed Robber to my library, and I just posted in our Discord like before we started this segment.
Yeah.
I'm asking for volunteers because we're going to play it on Twitch
It'd be
on Wednesday.
fantastic. The jankiness of all the controls
We're
are
gonna do
sure
we're gonna do a 4-player unarmed robber. And
man.
if any of you guys want to be in on that, you're welcome to.
Great.
Anyone listening, download One Armed Robber.
Part of the charm.
First person shooter that's got it's like Payday, but not so serious.
Yeah.
One of those things where I don't want to play Payday because I feel like if I mess up the mission, everyone's going to be so mad. But then the premise of this is like it's going to go awry. That's the point because it's like you can't even hold a screwdriver.
It goofs on itself.
Yeah.
You know. So I need 3 volunteers. We're going to play on Twitch this upcoming Wednesday.
Fantastic.
If you want,
That's
you want to, just reply in the groups and LFG channel. But probably on that like popular new upcoming and Mac, I never prior to you asking have ever explored the new and upcoming list on Steam before, so I had no idea what you were setting me up for.
There's a lot of hentai on there.
The house of hentai built.
A lot of hentai games.
So guys, you got to put yourself in my shoes. Like
I'm
like,
hoping you
okay,
played one. I hope to God you played one.
Okay, I'm helping with this. You know, we're doing this podcast thing. You know, I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna check this out. And I go in
Honey,
and
what are you doing there? I'm doing homework. Close the door.
It's like Fallen Shinobi. Is this like that Shinobi game, like the classic Shinobi?
Yes.
And I click on Fallen Shinobi.
Yes.
Like, no, this
Except
is
she's-
not.
Oh,
Oh,
this
no,
is
no.
better
This
than
is
Shinobi. Huh,
This is awful.
Good.
This is awful.
Wish listing now.
Yeah.
Like kaiju, like kaiju princess. Is this like a Godzilla game? No, this is not a Godzilla game. Oh no.
It's like a Godzilla game. It's Godzilla-like.
If Godzilla were stroking it, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen
Godzilla's so thick.
you. That new Hideki Anno Godzilla is
And-
pretty thick. He's
and
looking
cute
to get
and wears leather.
Yeah.
But no, we did get the crew together and we played Lethal Company a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
And I have to tell you, like the first time we played it, we had a 6-person lobby, and I thought that was a pretty good size because we had the mod and stuff like that. The second time we played, however, it was 10 people, and it was just crazy.
That is awesome.
Sure.
That game
Like,
is so hilarious. It reminds me of PUBG when PUBG first came out.
It was a thing.
Just like a phenomena of just like
It
this
was a
game
thing
is
that
like
happened.
so wild and funny, and all the stuff that just randomly happens is so funny and really
More
good.
like it's more like Among Us, like how that kid, like where'd that come from?
Well,
And that-
sure,
yeah,
gameplay
right.
wise. I just mean I remember when
No,
PUBG
I mean
first came
community
out.
wise too.
Well, I mean that the experience of playing it is almost scary just because it's I don't know, like the random things. I just remember in PUBG, like the panic of it all, of not knowing how the game. I don't know, the undergroundness of the game adds a little sousson to it in the experience.
Oh yeah, no, like I mean, going down the stairs with a friend of mine, chatting about the stuff that we're looking, and then looking for, and then I turn around and there's a bracken behind me, like ready to pounce on me, like that. My heart jumped, and it is a fun game, man.
Yeah.
Lethal Company is a good ass time.
We're gonna talk about that more next year. Spoilers. All right,
Okay.
but we have to move on now to our final segment. Okay, so for our final segment, we've always, of course, got the "What else you got?" The "What else you got?" where we can bring anything we want to the table: video game, TV show, board game, whatever. And this week, I got a video game, and I got one of my favorite video games, along with a little story. A couple weeks ago, I had jury duty. I got called to jury duty. And
Bummer.
long story short, I had to stay there for 11 hours. And it was insane.
Bro.
And the only thing that saved my life was a little game titled with 2 words, Vampire Survivors. If
Welcome to
you
the
are
club.
listening and you
Yeah.
haven't played Vampire Survivors, I'm not new to it. I played hours and hours and hours on my Xbox. So for those who haven't played, Vampire Survivors is like a twin stick shooter, but with only one stick. And the the way you fire is that there's a series of different weapons that you can collect at any given time, and they fire their weapon of choice at a different rate and in different ways. Like, so some of them are a thing that circles just around you, some of them are a thing that you shoot just above you, some are a thing that go a little bit above you and then down, and like I said, they all have different firing rates, but all you do is move around these massive levels. And I downloaded it on my phone because it's like $5, and I just started again. It was like because you unlock stuff as you go, but I just started again, and it is the best way to waste time ever. And I'm bringing it to us now because they just dropped a new DLC for it.
I'm just looking at that right now.
It's called Emergency Meeting.
Emergency meeting.
And they
two Among Us references.
they add new characters and new levels.
Wow.
And the joy of this game for me, one of the main joys of Vampire Survivors, is that they don't tell you anything ever. You just start the game and they don't tell you that there's parts in the level that if you go to them you unlock more levels or different characters. They just let you play. Your weapons will combine and make like super weapons, and they don't tell you that. It'll just happen, and you'll go, oh, I guess if I put the cross together with the gloves, it makes a super cross or whatever. It kicks ass. Vampire Survivors, it's on everything. Go and download it, please.
It's addictive. It's just one more round. Just one more round.
Just one more.
Last year, driving to and from MagFest because we drove up to Maryland, I played hours of Vampire Survivors.
Is this on? Is this on Switch?
I think it's on everything. It's
on
everything.
Okay.
It's the most simple, like looking game, but it's got fantastic music. I listened real quick. I listened to a little documentary about the guy who made it, and he is an ex designer of slot machines.
Wow.
And you can
that makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Checks out.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because you're just playing going, I just got to get one more spin. I just got to get
that
one more
checks
round.
out so
And the
hard.
colors and the way that the items. Oh, yeah.
Specifically, when you get the treasure chests in that game, it does like this. And it's
straight dopamine.
You just got to get that. Yeah, get them treasure
It could have
chests.
just given you the item, but it has to do that little animation.
And you watch it every time because it's so satisfying. All right. But
Damn, I'm going to go play Vampire Survivors now.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I'm going to get that on the Switch.
Fuck, what else you got?
All right, check this out. Do you remember that summer, Mac, that the Food Network first premiered? This would have been 20-something years ago.
It was the most formative year of my life. Go on.
So it's like that was that summer, right? And we were at Dad's house most of the time, and we watched Food Network like 24/7. And they had some new programming. They had like their own exclusive programming, like Mario Batali and whatever else. But then they would show old stuff of Julia Child and whatnot because they didn't have enough new content to fill 24 hours of channel, right? If you guys haven't seen yet, there is a Dungeons and Dragons Adventures channel, a free to watch with some ads on Freevee and Plex and Amazon and whatnot, to free to watch 24-hour Dungeons and Dragons channel. And so they have some original programming on there. I've been addictively watching it. This is why it reminds me of that Food Network summer. Been addictively watching it. They have their own original programming, but they don't have enough to fill 24 hours. So they fill it in with like the rivals from Waterdeep off of YouTube, some of the official like YouTube D&D adventures and whatnot. They fill it in with the 80s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, which I rediscovered that the villain is played by Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, which that was super cool.
Wow, baby.
Oh,
Venger.
Wow.
But some of the programming they have on there is so cool. There's one where everyone is like they say they're an actor, but they're just like, improv kind of folks. But it's very produced and it's very good.
Are you saying
it's
improv is not acting? Come on now.
I'm saying these guys are not like professional actors, and I'll segue into that in a second. But it's like the DM has it very well written and thought out. The set design is very nice, and so it's a very well produced adventure that they're doing. But flip flop to another one that they have on there. It's a show called this is the best ever. The show is called Faster Purple Worm Kill.
Faster Pussycat reference.
And the premise is there's 4 adventures every episode. Every episode is a one shot. There's a guest DM every episode, and the show has a host, which creates a cool dynamic, plus a guy that plays like music and percussion and other stuff live as they do it. So it's really improv. But everybody on the show are like actual nerds and celebrities. Like Seth Green's on an episode, Patton Oswalt on an episode, Barbara Ann Wall, Matthew Lillard's company's involved, so he's in a couple of episodes. The guy that does the lyrics that sang on the Shadowbringers Final Fantasy 14 album is on an episode.
Wow. Deep cut.
But the theme of the show is they're all level 1 adventurers, and by the end of the episode, the DM is going to throw like a high level monster at them that's going to kill them all. So everyone's going to die
Every time.
That's
really fun.
Everyone is a one shot. It's fun because you go into it knowing that. So since the DM is guiding the game, the host is like guiding the show, which creates a really cool dynamic. Plus the guy playing the keyboard, when like Seth Green makes a joke and says like, my dwarf walks in, dun, 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 and the keyboard buzz like, like it adds it, like on Whose Line Is It Anyway? It adds to that bit, right?
It's like Lake Wobegon.
It's just been a blast watching. Yeah.
And some NPR shit.
It's just been a blast watching this in the background as I work or whatever else this channel.
That's
so
cute. What's it called?
It's called Dungeons and Dragons Adventures.
Dungeons and Dragons Adventures.
It's the name of the channel, TV channel.
Where are you watching it?
I'm watching it on Freevee, which is part of Amazon. All their Amazon TV stuff. You can also watch it on Plex.
Freevee's Amazon?
Something like that, or it's tied to it.
Something like that. Raph.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
What else I got? I picked up a game this week. So with the webcam and all that, I have decided I kind of wanted to do thinking about doing YouTube videos again because I haven't done those in a little while.
Yes.
But I picked up Lost in Vivo. Right now with the winter sale. Yeah, Lost in Vivo. It's another Kira game. It's a survival horror game. But it's about like claustrophobia.
Goo.
You're somebody who is during a storm, you're walking your dog and then your dog gets washed down a drain, so you have to go down into the drain and find the dog.
No.
You meet other people stricken by other psychological fears. It's a very psychological horror game.
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sick pervert.
It looks horrifying, and I love it. It sounds like it's going to be super good.
During a storm, your service dog is forced down a broken sewer drain. You find the nearest sewer and just run in. This sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. It looks terrifying. I'm so excited to play it.
The game's relevant to you because you also played Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Good ass.
But yeah, that's the thing that I'm going to be doing probably all next week is try to play through it and try to beat it.
Nice.
That's cool.
Mr. Venicor, what else you got?
So I've been playing the new in my spare time, like at work and such. I've been playing the new Warcraft mobile game, Warcraft Rumble, and it's actually really fun.
I haven't played it.
It's actually really fun. We
have
have
a little guild.
We have a guild and everything.
How does it play?
I've been told it plays like Clash Royale. I never played Clash Royale, but essentially you've got like your gold at the bottom that like gradually fills up. You can have up to 10 gold at one time, and it just constantly is filling up. And you can use each miniature. Let me back up. You have a little loadout of miniatures, and they each have a cost and like strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. And if you have the gold, you can place the miniature, and they just go. They just automatically go and do their pre-programmed thing. You don't have to do anything after placing the mini. You could drop a spell in there if you have the money. You can send little kobolds out to like mine some extra gold and deprive your opponent. And it's just a little kind of tower defense-y, place your minis and look at them go. And
it is fun.
It's really simple and fun.
It's those auto battlers, man. I'm telling you, that's the future of mobile gaming.
Yeah.
It has a lot of good strategy to it too, though. It gets pretty deep with all the units and the different types, like because there's undead and alliance and horde, different boss character you get. You get to have a boss character plus all your minions.
Is it free to play?
Yes.
It's free to play. And Blizzard has done a really, really good job with their mobile games. Mobile games that
I'm looking at you here.
That you can have
you guys not have bones, you fucking idiots. That's why talking.
I hope that guy got fired.
Zing. Yeah, I think that guy got fired. I'm pretty sure that guy got fired.
No, what I was going for was that they have done a great job with their mobile games, especially that there is a very robust free to play experience. Hearthstone, you get a lot of freebies. Warcraft Rumble, they give a lot of freebies. Like there is a very robust free to play experience. It's not one of those games where you are obviously missing out if you don't put some money into it. No, you can just play Warcraft Rumble on strictly free to play, and you could have a great time. So that's why it's a great. I think I dropped $5 into it.
I don't think I've spent anything on it, and I played it a lot.
Yeah, I've dropped like $5 into it, just because there was like this like amazing good value bundle thing. That's how they get you. But you know, I mean, we all have our main games we play, and the big stuff, and the AAA titles, the indie stuff that we play on our PCs and stuff. But you know, I think it's really, really fun to have a mobile game that you could just play, and every round lasts 3 minutes or 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and then there's like an overtime phase. So the most time you were going to spend playing a round of this is 5 whole minutes. Like
that's the best. That's the best. That's what Marvel Snap did.
I think that's super cool.
Yeah, Snap is fun. They know you're playing on the pooper.
Yep.
Hey man, you got 5 minutes? Yeah. All right, you could play around to Warcraft Rumble.
I'm in a public bathroom, and I need to forget about how that I'm in a public bathroom so that I can use the public bathroom. So I need to be able to play card games with Spider-Man in them.
Snap is fun. Snap is fun.
Oh yes,
I've heard good things about Snap.
Yeah.
And there is a Steam version of Snap that links up with your phone version of Snap.
No way.
So you can play Snap on your computer.
Or you can take your computer into the toilet. All right, that's our show, everyone. I want to thank everyone for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Join us next week, where we'll be celebrating the new year by talking and playing games about time. Spoilers, there's a Braid Anniversary Edition coming out next year.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I loved Braid.
I won't be bringing Braid to the table, but we're each going to bring a couple games that remind us about time, whatever that means to our hosts. Maybe there's time mechanics in it. Maybe the game is timed. Maybe the game you play the god of time. It doesn't matter. Whatever game makes you think about time, we're going to be talking about it. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Spotify and YouTube and other places where you listen. Apple Music, I presume. They're a really kick-ass band. Go look them up. And I personally would like to direct you to RetroGameTreasure.com. Owned and operated by Buck himself, a.k.a. the Mega Buck. It is a subscription service that sends you bespoke boxes of video games every month. That is every major console from Atari 2600 to the PS4 generation, and they're tailored to your collection. You'll never get games that you can't play. Retro Game Treasure, obsessed with video games since 1985. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Mm-hmm.